Hi guys, welcome to your first online grammar class. Now this video is really good if you just need to review the terms that we've been working on, or if you missed a class or something like that. So we're going to start off and just cover what we did in class, well, probably today, and just go through the basics of it. So we're looking at two main things, subjects and predicates. Subjects and predicates. Ta-da! So, by the end of this lesson, there are some things that you should know how to do. You should be able to recognize subjects and predicates in a sentence. You should be able to diagram sentences that are just 2 words long that have subjects and predicates. And these terms, you should be able to just know what they mean. So, you've got to know what a noun is. Within that, there's common nouns and proper nouns. Common nouns are general people, places, things, or ideas. So with that, you've got like man, people, place, town, bridge. I think these are the same examples I gave you. And justice. With proper nouns, those are the specific versions of common nouns. So where a common noun might be a man, you think of a specific man, it's got a capital letter, like we'll say George. Same thing, town, the proper version of that would be like Antioch. That's a specific town, and you capitalize the first letter. A specific bridge, we'll say Golden Gate. And I don't know if I can think of a specific idea that would get a capital thing. I mean, maybe if you're a real romantic, you'd say like love or something like that. I don't know. Maybe. But the big ones are like specific people, places, and things and stuff. Just remember that a noun names a person, place, thing, or idea. And also verbs. Now, there's 2 types of verbs. There's action verbs and linking verbs. We're only talking about action verbs until a couple of weeks from now. And an action verb is what the subject of the sentence does. It's a word that expresses action. Word that expresses action. All right. So those are the big ones you need to know in terms of parts of speech, or POS for short. Parts of speech. We'll give that even a separate color there because that's a big deal. Oh, it's like Christmas. Okay, so your parts of speech that you have to know: noun, common and proper, and verb. Parts of speech go together to make parts of a sentence, and we'll take a look at what that means right now. Let's erase this. While I'm erasing, a part of the 2 parts of a sentence that you're going to be talking about are subjects and predicates. And a sentence has to have 3 things to be complete. It's got to have a subject and a verb and a complete thought. And the predicate is the verb plus anything else that makes it important. So a sentence equals, or actually, it's been a while since I've done a math class. Let's do it backwards. Let's do it the other way because that probably makes more sense. Subject plus verb plus complete thought equals sentence. Complete thought, this one right here, that's a little bit tricky actually. It makes perfect sense to grammarians and stuff, but sometimes the line between additional extra information and vital information that makes something a complete thought can be a little bit weird at first, but the more you do it, the more you'll get the feel for that. So let's take a look at the basic ideas here. Subject and verb. Subject. Subject. This is the star of your sentence. It's going to be a noun or a pronoun. So subjects could be nouns, pronoun. And it's the star. It is either the thing that is doing something, or being something. We're not going to worry about being yet, though, because that's with linking verbs, and we're just doing action verbs. So we're just focusing on the thing doing something. So if I have a dog that drools, let's say, or let's just say we're talking about dogs in general. Dogs drool. Dogs drool. What's being done? Drool, right? That's the action. That's our action verb. And the dog is the one who's doing it. He's the star. So dog is a subject. If I say desks sit, even though they're not doing that much, desks sit. Okay, that's interesting. Where did that come? Desks sit. You look at the action. There's the action. Sit. What's doing the sitting? The desk. So that's my subject. Desks. That's my desk right there. Well, maybe we can make it. There's the desk, and it's sitting there. It's just sitting there. But that's, even though it's not a particularly active action, that's what it's doing. So the subject is a thing that does something or is something. But right now we're just talking about what it does. And you probably guessed the other half is the verb, or the predicate. The predicate is the verb plus everything else that goes with it, how it sits and why it sits and where it sits and all that. But for now, we're just interested in just the simple predicate is just the verb itself, so that's sit. So let's erase this part here, since we've still got our subject and verb example there, and we'll look at predicate. P-R-E-D-I-C-A-T-E. Predicate is what the subject does. Later on, we'll get to what it is. For now, we're just what the subject does. So this is what's being done in the sentence is sit. We change the example. We're just focusing on two-word sentences right now, subject and verb, and it makes a complete thought. It doesn't have to be an interesting thought, but it is complete. It doesn't leave you saying, well, what? When the subject sits, what happens? So printers print. There's my subject, right? Subject here, sub. My predicate is there. Good. Last bit of this lesson, and then I will call it a day. What you should do, though, as you're practicing this, is just come up with lots of two-word sentences and just remind yourself. This isn't super complicated yet, but if you don't get this part, then when it does get complicated, you'll get lost pretty quickly. And the last thing that we're going to do is diagramming. And this is the fundamental beginning of the diagram. Diagramming is a way of breaking down each word in a sentence and showing how it relates to the other words. Once you understand that the word's meaning changes in context, then it's much easier to understand whether you've punctuated a sentence correctly and what you've written makes sense at all. So, diagram always starts off just like this. Draw a nice big line right across. And then you draw a line that bisects that line. And the subject always goes on the left of the line, and the verb goes on the right. And then you add a bunch of other things as the sentence gets more complex, but for now we're just going to do it that way. So I'll leave that above there, and then we'll do a couple of just like quick sample things. So we said cats judge. Right now with these two-word sentences, it actually doesn't change anything at all. Dogs stink. That's what they do. They do other things too. I love dogs. networks crash. There's my subject on the left, my verb on the right. And you should probably put your punctuation in as well. A period. So there you have diagramming basic simple sentences with subjects and verbs. Remember, you need to know what a subject is, you need to know what a verb is, you need to know what a predicate is, you need to know what a noun is and what a pronoun is. Oh, we didn't talk about pronouns, did we? So let's talk about pronouns real quick. Subject can be a noun or a pronoun. A pronoun is a word that replaces a noun, and I usually think of he, she, or it, which is the way it was taught to me, and it just stuck in my head. So, pronouns. Pronouns. Pronoun. It replaces a noun. So instead of saying cats judge, maybe we're talking about one cat, we say it judges. Or we think, maybe it's a person we're talking about, we say he judges. He judges. She judges. They judge. We judge. So those are some of your subject pronouns. If you don't want to use the actual thing, if you don't want to use the actual noun, then use the pronoun. He, she, we, they, them. You can't use them in the subject. You wouldn't say them judge. But that's your last part of speech for this week. So pronouns, nouns, verbs, subjects, predicates. You're good to go. Awesome.